And what is up? Welcome back in a second edition of GC Live. Kendall is still smiling. Busy day, but looks like a pretty fun day there at SEC Media Days. For those who missed it earlier, we already checked in with Kendall before South Carolina got rolling. I guess they were probably in the air when we were talking earlier, or just hopped on the plane. Since then, actually, the bulk of their kind of whirlwind day is kind of out of the way. Beamer has already spoken in the main room. Beamer spoken to local media. Kendall, I guess, what's been the biggest takeaway for you so far?
Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. Right now, I'm actually standing right by the podium that Beamer was literally just speaking at probably about 5 minutes ago. And there's been a lot that's been talked about. I think the big thing that really stuck with me that Beamer was talking about earlier in his kind of main area press conference was the difference between this year and last year. He said last year nobody was really paying attention to South Carolina. He said probably the biggest statement that South Carolina made at Media Day was that recreation of the Steve Spurrier Arby's picture. But he said this year it's different. People are talking about South Carolina on a national level. People are talking about South Carolina in a way that they haven't been talked about in years. And Beamer really talking about that, I think, should bring obviously a ton of excitement to fans because it is a new era and it's a new time in South Carolina football. And he's really capitalized off of that and talked about that a lot today. Obviously, you're getting a ton of questions about Spencer Rattler. Beamer joked, he was like, yeah, I brought, DK and Javon and Zach today. But, next year when Spencer's a senior, we can bring Spencer Rattler, just like joking about that, obviously, because I think most people would expect him not to be here his senior year. But talking a lot about Spencer, talking a lot about the offense in general. And then I've also liked a lot of questions that Beamer has gotten about his approach to coaching. Like he's been asked questions about his youthful approach to coaching, how he balances having the fun of doing the Soldier Boy videos and the Full House videos with also having his players be out there and work hard and, participate in that demanding environment that is South Carolina football. So much talked about today, but I think the big thing that's standing out to me is just how much more interest there is this year in South Carolina football than there has been in a number of years for this program.
Yeah, I think it's kind of been supercharged a little bit, Kendall, by obviously, as we've talked about all offseason, the Spencer Rattler thing. I mean, Spencer Rattler, to be a major topic of discussion when you're not even one of the three guys that are there, I think says something about what Spencer Rattler's name and let's be honest, in this day and age, what his brand means to college football. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I thought it was interesting. Beamer saying, he even called Spencer Rattler and basically said, look, I'm going to take three seniors, and Rattler was like, dude, you don't have to call me. Like, I'm cool. It's fine. Possibly even maybe happy. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but there,
Yeah.
there may have been part of Rattler that was happy to avoid the rush
Mm-hmm.
of what is SEC Media Days. Kendall, I thought maybe not a ton necessarily newsworthy from the local media part, but he did get a new update as far as injuries go, as far as the roster goes. I thought that was maybe, I guess, the most noteworthy thing about the local media portion of the day, saying that Rick Sandage is really kind of the only guy on the roster right now that would be probably a wait and see as far as his availability for the start of preseason practice, which is in really 2 weeks. So for the most part, the Gamecocks a healthy team injury wise. Jamal Weiss is back with the program, the freshman defensive tackle that missed spring to basically handle some personal stuff. Jalen Brooks, as has already been reported and known, but was officially
Mm-hmm.
completely confirmed by Beamer that he is back. So it sounds like the Gamecocks, as far as their actual roster, pretty much in line with their availability too, which is always a good thing going into the season. You're going to have injuries at some point, but you don't even want to go into the season already having those injuries in place.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And, Coach Beamer talked about it with the offensive line. He was like, for all 15 spring practices, every single offensive lineman was there. There were no injuries, very durable group. So it's a great thing for South Carolina. I think when you come to these media days, yes, you hear a lot of the same thing and you might hear a lot of coach speak, but you never want to hear anything that's so newsworthy that, you know, it could potentially affect the season or whatnot. So good things for South Carolina here, and obviously good for the program and the fans to know that right now everything's smooth and steady. Everything is on track. Actually, Coach Beamer is right over there, literally just about to go into a, I think, exclusive with CBS or ESPN. So, yeah, he's right over there and just finishing up what is a very, very, very busy day. But it is so funny because you hear all the questions about Spencer Rattler that have probably been asked 1,000 times. But the thing about Shane that's the best is that he's just so nice and like he's still going to answer the question, and you know he makes a little fun of himself here and there, and he's just one of those coaches I think we're very fortunate to have, obviously, at South Carolina because he makes it enjoyable in so many ways. And he's a guy who's great in front of the media. So he's the type of person you want to cover at an event like this.
We got to pay our bills, so I want to mention real quick Clint Hammond, our good buddy, who is the presenting sponsor of every single GC Live, including our quick hitters from Atlanta, ClintHammond.com, 803-771-6933. If you're in the market for a mortgage, give Clint a shout. So, Kendall, this Soldier Boy video from Beamer has kind of taken on a life of its own. Like, it's been, I've seen several quotes, several mentions of it to Beamer, people asking Beamer about it. Obviously, we talked about it earlier in the day and just our reaction, and that it was, you know, it was cool, it was funny. But I would say well played too, and the timing. He gave all credit to Justin King, but the timing of putting that out today, it's given him one more little fun thing to talk about, I guess. And Beamer, I'm sure he loves this. Even said he had lots of recruits texting him about video. So well played, well timed, and also, how about Debo Williams telling Beamer to go listen to the song and him saying, "Guys, I know the words. I'm not."
I know he's getting
It's not
called
even a new
out.
song though.
No, it's not. It's not. But like Beamer showing that he's still kind of cool, like he knows the words to the song. But yeah, like videos like that, I think every 2 weeks, South Carolina is going viral in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the Full House video, whether it's the Soldier Boy video. It's constant and very well played to do it today. Beamer has been asked several questions about how you balance being able to have fun with, you know, working and making sure that your players are putting in that effort, putting in that time so that you can create wins, because obviously that's what it comes down to. You can have all the fun that you want in the world, but if you're not winning football games, it's not going to be happy times for much longer. So Beamer answered, you know, a lot of those questions, and he said, I want for players to know that, yes, this is going to be demanding. Yes, we're going to put in the work. Yes, we are going to try to win football games. And you know, that is the top priority. But he also said that he wants to make sure his players look forward to coming into the facility every single day. He wants there to be joy in the sport because it's already hard enough. And I think he even said something along the lines of this, don't quote me, but something similar to, I want players to look forward to coming into the facility. I don't think it's always been that way. And you know, I think if you look at the past few years in South Carolina football, you could probably make a case for that with some players. So yeah, I mean, as I said, like he just wins with the media. He's so great in front of the media. People really, really enjoy hearing from him. There's a lot of beat writers and people from like other SEC schools. And it was so funny because the last question of his main press conference was from some Georgia guy. And he asked him his opinions on the Georgia tight ends, including Oscar Delp. And I was like, that's really how we're going to end this press conference right now? Like, we're really going to end it asking about Georgia? Because you'll get those people that come in, they're like, so, you know, I'm going to ask you, head coach of another team, what do you think about my team that I'm covering? Which is always a great question.
And Beamer, obviously, did he answer the question? I'm guessing he was.
Oh yeah,
he's really
class
familiar
act.
with those guys.
So poised, like class act. I'd be like, why y'all asking me about these other teams? I came here to talk about South Carolina, not Georgia, not Texas A&M. But he's very classy, as we all know, and he does, you know, exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, handled it well. And again, a lot of SEC media days, Kendall, let's be honest, it is repeat questions. It is stuff we've already heard him answer in a lot of cases for months now. But it is what it is. This kicks off college football. This gets things rolling, and then in 2 weeks we're
There's
gonna
the
have
Carrion
real
Joiner.
things to talk about.
Hey, what's up?
Carry
We're
on. What's up?
live. We got the fit and everything. Say hi to Gamecock fans.
Hey
Oh,
man,
there's Zach
I'm loving the
Pickens,
fit.
whole crew. That's awesome. Little live with DK.
So by far best dressed. Is that what I'm
Yeah,
hearing?
oh,
That
that's what I
Joyner has won
said.
the award.
I mean, I think he is, and like everybody has been hyping up his fit. By the way, shameless plug, just did an exclusive with Dakarian Joyner on Gamecock Central. That's already out. So we talk about everything. We talk about up and coming players. Obviously, we talk about Dakarian, his playing journey, his experience this year, and we talk about the outfit as well, because it wouldn't be the full complete interview without talking about that awesome pink suit that he's wearing.
Yeah. Okay. Without giving away all of your content, Kendall, what is your biggest takeaway from what DeCarrion had to say?
I mean, the journey that he's been through is unbelievable. He was talking about how today is the anniversary of his father's passing. And just for him to be here today at SEC Media Day, it means the world. We talked about kind of his leadership development and how he's grown into the player that he is today for South Carolina, going from quarterback to receiver, advice that he gives to younger players. I think it comes down to, yes, obviously, DK is incredibly talented on the field, and what he did in the Dukes Mayo Bowl will be remembered forever by Gamecock fans. But it also is the fact that he's just the type of person that you want on this team. If you're Shane Beamer, this is the guy you want at your SEC Media Day representing your team, because he literally personifies what Shane Beamer says this program is all about. And he really showed that in that interview. He's awesome. DK's great. He was one of the first people when I first started covering South Carolina that was just so nice and was like always very accommodating with answering questions and in interviews and all that stuff. And so I'm just so excited to see him here today, and really excited for him and what's to come this season, because he is that guy that literally embodies what this program is all about. And you'll see that in that interview.
Yeah, no, I think, Kendall, that's kind of the way Beamer picked these three guys. And it's not that these are the only three guys that embody the program. You know, it's nothing against the other guys, but I think it was very, it was well thought out as far as who
Yes.
he picked. Upperclassmen, guys that have been around the program. Beamer emphasized how, you know, these are guys that could have left the program. You know, Pickens could have been a high draft pick. Obviously, Joyner very easily could have said, look, I want to go play quarterback and going to App State, you know, or
Yeah.
going somewhere else. So he kind of kept mentioning that. I've watched various interviews with Beamer throughout the day, and he's mentioned that several times. Hey, these are guys that could have gone elsewhere, and they stayed. They stuck it out. And I think they're all three leaders in their own way. You know, it's always interesting to me, Kendall, watching when players sort of turn the switch from underclassmen to upperclassmen. And
Mm-hmm.
Pickens is a guy that I think, as he has become a upperclassman, has become much more of a leader within the
Yes.
program. And then Javon Gwynn, I don't think Gwynn's necessarily that like rah-rah, super talkative leader, but you talk to people around the program, teammates, guys within the program, they respect the way Gwynn carries himself, and he sets, I believe, a really strong example for the other players. The more I've talked about it and thought about it, I think Javon Gwynn's maybe one of the more underrated guys on this team, like among the fan base,
Yeah.
compared to how he is perceived within the program. So both of those guys, obviously we know about the Joyner story, but both of those guys as well, Pickens and Gwynn, easy to see why once you dive into it, Beamer would pick them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got to hang out kind of by Zach Pickens when 107.5 The Game was interviewing him. They were asking him kind of about his leadership approach and when that point in his career really came, where he was like, you know, I'm not just an underclassman part of this team anymore. I'm a leader on this team. And he said that that switch kind of flipped his junior year. And ever since, I think it's very obvious to anybody that follows the program that yeah, it definitely has. And Zach Pickens is one of those guys on your team that is going to lead. You know, same with Gwynn. And with all of the struggles of the offensive line that everybody constantly goes back to, I think it's huge to bring an offensive lineman here this year. I think it's huge to say, you know what? we stand behind our offensive line. Yes, they had their struggles last year, but we have so many guys that are coming back. We have guys from last year. And Beamer talked about it in the press conference. He's like, it's so easy just to say, oh, the run game sucks. Oh, it's on the offensive line. Oh, the quarterback got sacked. It's on the offensive line. Like, it's so easy to just go to the offensive line, and they get so much criticism and not a whole lot of love, even when things do go well. Like, if things go well, quarterback makes a great pass, or, there's a great run. Oh, that's on the running back and the quarterback. So I think it's cool to bring people like that, and to bring people in your program. Yeah, they might not be quarterback and they might not be a running back, but they are pieces of the puzzle that without them, this program wouldn't be what it is. And they've bought into this program. Like you said, they could have left. They stayed, they bought in, and you have to have players investing in your program if you want to create the type of program Beamer is trying to create. And these guys have invested in it.
All right, Kendall, give me some final thoughts. What's next? Anything we haven't hit? And you said you maybe be talking to someone from SEC Network. Is that right? Is that locked
I'm gonna
in, or is that
try.
a
I
possibility?
need to confirm. I don't want to say anything, because that's how it is. You say you're gonna have an interview, and
We
it
won't
like
jinx it.
never happens. But we're gonna try. Right now, I'm kind of by ESPN and CBS, so they're doing like some one-on-ones with Beamer, and then Beamer's kind of done with like his big, like huge media sessions for the day. He did his electronic media, main media session, and local media session. So I think he's got like a network set coming up with SEC Network. And then the players are kind of running around here too, doing like some SEC social stuff as well. So it's wrapping up towards the end of the day, and they've got a little get together at Mercedes-Benz Stadium after this for the media. So I think we're going to hop by that
Nice.
for a bit, and then we're going to head on back to Columbia. I will miss the ATL. I'll miss Hotlanta. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been fun.
Yeah, plenty of content on Gamecock Central, plenty of content to go. And I'll tell you the biggest takeaway sitting at home, just watching all this happen with the coverage. The Gamecocks, Kendall, are kind of a little bit of the darling, the
Oh, yeah, yeah,
newcomer
yeah.
of the week, I
100%.
feel like. Jordan Rogers has basically said South Carolina is his second best team in the East, which
Mm-hmm.
is, saying something, considering that your national champion obviously is who everybody would pick first in the East. I believe he had Spencer Rattler, the second best quarterback in the SEC. Tim Tebow had Rattler, the fourth best quarterback in the SEC, and also spoke incredibly highly of Shane Beamer and the job he's been doing at South Carolina, called him a draw for recruits. So Greg McElroy, I think, had some really positive things to say. Obviously, the SEC media guys are always going to say positive things about the teams in the league, but it does just seem like the Gamecocks, again, are a little bit of the darling of the week this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree 100%. And like, as I said, when you have Shane Beamer heading things up, they're going to be the darling. And I think just based off of what they did this past year, and it also comes back to like them doing those videos on social media. Like, you're getting people involved in the program that might know nothing about South Carolina or college football. But when they see that out there on social media, like, for example, not throwing my roommates under the bus, I love them to death, but they do not really follow sports at all. They go to South Carolina and they know about Shane Beamer, but what's going to get their attention more than anything? Like, we could beat Georgia and they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's great. But when they see the Soldier Boy video or the Full House video, that gets their attention. And I think that that's starting to happen for South Carolina. It's becoming a thing that's beyond just SEC fans, that's beyond the hardcore South Carolina fans. You're starting to reach an audience now that we probably haven't reached in years. So it's huge for South Carolina. People say, oh, these media days, whatever, you're going to hear the same old thing. Yeah, in some ways that's true. But also, it's never a bad thing to get out here, to look good in front of the media, and to put your best foot forward before the season starts, because you don't want to give anybody any type of reason to say anything about your program that could be negative.
Kendall, great stuff as always. We'll let you get back to it. Like she said, go check out GamecockCentral.com. We got 4 months for $1 right now. And again, this is brought to you by our buddy Clint Hammond of the Mortgage Network, and of course the tax team at Liberty Tax, locations in Columbia, Irmo, Lexington, 803-462-5576. Kendall, talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you, Wes. Thanks, everybody, for following along.
Yep, she's Kendall. I'm Wes. Tune in later this week, another GC Live. We'll talk to you then. You'll have a good one.